this tradition that the first lady and the outgoing first lady are gonna have the tea time? Why is it so important? Do people care?
Yeah, people care. It's just part of the transition process of the previous president and the first lady leaving and the new president and the first lady arriving. It's just part of the traditional handover of authority in the United States. Remember, the first lady usually has a prominent role as well. So from day one, people are watching the first lady, not just the president.
Yeah, but they might just as well shake hands and have a hug. That's it. But do they reveal what they talk about in this tea time?
If they reveal anything, usually it's to say they talk about living in the White House or hosting events. If they have young children, they'll talk about the schooling of their children. But that's not an issue with the Bidens since their children are all much older.
Also, the Melania's child, Barron, wasn't going to school in White House.
I think he was going to school in Washington, D.C.
I thought he went to school in New York.
I think that was at the beginning, but I think at some point he moved to Washington.
I see. So no children topic. Is that why they had nothing to talk about?
Well, normally they would talk about some operational aspects of life in the White House. If they get along well in this meeting, normally the outgoing first lady might share some things to be concerned about, dealing with the media, stuff like that. But again, Jill Biden was wife of the vice president, the second lady, for 8 years. So I guess she doesn't need this kind of information.
But why is it a big deal Melania doesn't want to do this?
I think it just shows how poor the relations are between the outgoing president and the incoming president, that these traditions are not being maintained.
Does she have to give a reasonable reason that she's not hosting this, or she can
No, it's not a legal requirement. She doesn't have to give a reason. I mean, one day in an interview, she might get asked about it sometime in the future if she does a press interview or if she writes a book. People would be expecting her to explain this. It will certainly get a lot of media attention in the coming few days. And the criticism will be towards Melania Trump. It won't be towards Jill Biden.
Because they control the media?
No, because they control the White House until 12 o'clock on January 20th. So it's up to Melania Trump to invite Jill Biden. The chances are 4 or 8 years from now, however long Jill Biden is the first lady, she'll restart she'll welcome the next first lady or first husband. What if the next one is Kamala Harris's husband?
So you think if it's Melania Trump again, she will invite her?
There's little likelihood Trump will be elected president in 2024.
You wrote a lot of speculation about what kind of farewell ceremony.
Normally, the departing president might just get on a helicopter at the White House and wave, and then he'd be flown to Air Force Base, and there'd be a plane that would take him to wherever he was going, his home. Pretty low key. The speculation, I should say, is that President Trump is planning something a bit more made for television.
Okay.
The military band and a 21-gun salute.
What does that mean?
You know, like when a government hosts a visiting dignitary and they have like the big cannons fire off a salute. It would be consistent with his style, like what he did for the 共和党大会 in August. Remember, he had the big fireworks and the big thing at the White House?
UK announced new restrictions for travelers entering the country.
But Biden and Boris Johnson are not friendly. Boris Johnson was hopeful that Trump was going to get reelected. Trump likes to brag about having travel ban on China. That was his big way of saving the U.S. from COVID-19. Didn't really work. The UK is banning U.S. travelers. Trump would probably be upset, but maybe Biden would be like, "Oh, good idea." It's just a completely different American president on every issue.
Yeah.
So Boris Johnson's going to have to adjust to that. Sometimes it'll work out well for him, and sometimes it won't. Biden was very outspoken that he opposed Brexit. He opposed the UK negotiating positions in the Brexit negotiations. He opposed any kind of deal that would have a negative impact on the Northern Ireland peace agreement.
Gibraltar.
Starting point is for the UK to insist that Gibraltar is always going to be British. Spain wants Gibraltar back.
What about the residents there or the citizen there?
They have voted repeatedly to stay part of the United Kingdom. However, here comes the interesting part. They also overwhelmingly supported remaining in the European Union. Then the issue became, you have a little piece of the United Kingdom on this corner of Spain. The United Kingdom is not in the European Union anymore. Is this little piece of territory on the corner of Spain that's part of the United Kingdom? What kind of border controls would you have? The people who live there wanted to remain in the European Union. They also want to remain part of the UK. It was very complex to figure out a solution to make everyone happy.
They use pounds there, right?
Yeah, they actually issue something called the Gibraltar pound.
Oh.
But it's 1-for-1 with the UK pound. And there are people who live on the Spanish side, but they work in Gibraltar. They're Spaniards. They went across the border every day to go to their jobs. This all became very complex. You have the piece of the United Kingdom that wants to be in the European Union, even though the United Kingdom has left the European Union.
Right.
And it's physically attached to Spain. And the people there wanted the benefits of being in the European Union.
President Xi has encouraged Howard Schultz, Starbucks Corporation chairman, to continue to play a positive role in advancing China-U.S. economic and trade cooperation.
1971, the first contact between the U.S. and China was called ping pong diplomacy because the U.S. ping pong team went to China. This was considered a big breakthrough.
Or what about the panda diplomacy?
But that really came after they established relations. I mean, it was a big deal, but it wasn't like the ping pong team going to China. Don't you remember in Forrest Gump? He went to China?
I don't remember. What happened?
Well, when after he was injured in Vietnam, he went to the hospital. And while he was in the hospital, he learned how to play ping pong. Then he became so good, he was part of the U.S. ping pong team that went to China.
Okay.
Again, that was like the first positive contact between the U.S. and communist China.
Okay.
So in the history of U.S.-China relations, this is a very, very, very big thing. Everyone knows ping pong diplomacy. So given that we're supposedly in this Cold War between the U.S. and China, I was kind of making a joke based on ping pong diplomacy.
Yeah, but why Starbucks?
Why did Xi Jinping call Howard Schultz? I don't know. You got to ask Xi Jinping. The U.S.-China relations are not very good right now. Well-known corporate executive or the former CEO, now the chairman emeritus of a company that has a lot of locations in China, could advocate for an improvement of relations. That's clearly something that China wants to see. So it's logical that Xi Jinping would select this kind of American business leader rather than pick a business leader who's been very critical of China.
Why not like McDonald's diplomacy?
McDonald's?
Yeah.
Well, the fact is Starbucks owns a lot of the stores in China. They own them directly from headquarters. McDonald's does not own the restaurants directly. They have a small minority ownership, but they sold most of the ownership.
Wow, I didn't know that. I guess that's pretty much the most presentable culture of your great country.